Hey, hey, hey. Welcome back to Evergreen Marketing Era for Women Entrepreneurs. I'm your host, Andrea Singletary, podcast strategist for women in business who want to get leads and sign clients from their podcasts. Now, before I jump into today's episode topic, I did want to address that last week there was no new episode for me. And the reason why is your girl is officially 34, almost 35 weeks pregnant at the time of recording this. And I am in my nesting phase and like 2 seconds from maternity leave. And so I'm slowing things down around here. Right now, my primary focus is serving my current clients through the end of June, as well as, aligning up things for clients who want to start working with me when I return later on this year from my maternity leave, and selling my new course podcast like a business owner. So yeah, I'm like slowing things down and, again, in that nesting phase and all that good stuff. So, going forward, I'm only going to be publishing 2 new episodes per month. It's all really great content, but your girl has to slow down. But anyways, let's get into today's topic. So I want to talk about is podcasting oversaturated. One thing I see a lot, especially on Threads, your girl is always on Threads, but I see so many people say, podcasting is, oversaturated. Oh, I shouldn't start a podcast because there's too many podcasts and all the stuff like that. And I find this so funny because one, I never see anyone say this about YouTube or creating a YouTube channel. And I don't see people say this about writing books. And I think that the problem is that how people view podcasts. A lot of time when people think about podcasts, they're thinking about those celebrity shows, those influencer shows, those hobby shows where they focus on like true crime and these different random things like that. But we're not here for that. We are business owners. You're a business owner. And so for you, a podcast is another way to market your business. So like people saying like, podcasting is oversaturated. As a business owner, kind of viewing it through that lens, that's saying Instagram is oversaturated. Threads is oversaturated. TikTok is oversaturated. You know how silly that sounds when you think about it from the perspective of a business owner? And so I wanted to address this because I want to shift your perspective around this. If you're someone who you really feel led to start a podcast, but you're thinking, you know what, it's oversaturated. There are too many podcasts. How will people, find my podcast or want to listen to my podcast when there's already so many out there? And so you need to think about this differently. This is just another way for you to market your business. This is another way for you to connect with people who will be a perfect fit for your offers, who need your expertise. They need you. They need you to help them get their lives and their businesses together. And so when you shift your perspective and really view it as a marketing channel, as a marketing platform, instead of it being, just this media where people like to yap behind the microphone, you're not going to feel like it's oversaturated. But also, too, a lot of the podcasts out there, they're not that great, especially these big name celebrity ones where, how people say like, hide all the microphones and stop selling the microphones, different things like that. There are certain people who really don't need to be behind the microphone because they're spewing stuff out there that is very harmful. And you're not doing that. You are trying to reach the people who need what you have to offer, trying to help them improve their lives and their businesses and everything. And so you're not part of that group. So you have to shift how you're looking at podcasting. But as you know, I am a stats girly. And so I want to talk about the stats when it comes to podcasts. So as of 2026, there are about 4.5 to 4.7 million podcasts, but less than 500,000 are active, meaning that less than 500,000 are actually publishing new content. So while there are a lot of podcasts created, not all of them are active. In fact, most of them aren't active. And the reason why, here we go. 90% of podcasts don't even make it past episode 3. And then of those who do make it past episode 3, 80 to 90% don't make it past episode 10. So a lot of people start podcasts because, not gonna lie, starting the podcast, that is the easy part. The tech and all of that, that's the easy part. But where people fail is that they have no vision for their podcast. They have no goals for their podcast. They decide that creating a podcast sounds really cool, really fun. I'm going to do this thing, but then they don't know what to talk about. And especially if there's someone who is an entrepreneur, they don't know how to connect it to their businesses. And so it ends up being something that just becomes too much to do, something that seems unnecessary, something that's not truly giving them an ROI. And so they quit. This is why I created podcasts like a business owner, because I don't want business owners to go through this. A podcast can truly be an amazing marketing and sales platform for your business and such a low effort way to connect with more of the people who need your expertise, who need to be working with you because they are struggling. But you have to set your podcast up the right way from the very start. You have to build that foundation for your podcast. And that's what I show you how to do in Podcasts Like a Business Owner. I really help you position this as a marketing and sales asset for your business. Every little aspect of your podcast, we're viewing it through the lens of, how does this connect back to your business? How does this really demonstrate your expertise and your authority? How does this call in the people who not only need what you have to offer, but actually are ready to invest in what you have to offer? How does it do these things for you, where it positions your offers as the solution that your listeners need? That is what I teach you how to do inside a podcast like a business owner. So we're not here worrying about, is podcasting oversaturated? Because that does not apply to you as a business owner. You have a unique perspective. You have a way of working with people. And there are certain people who they will only be able to receive from you. They will only be able to learn from you. They will only be able to get certain results by working with you. And so your podcast is allowing you to reach those people who maybe they haven't found you on social media. Maybe they haven't joined your email list. Maybe they don't even know you exist, but they really need your help and they're active podcast listeners. And so you create your podcast. Now they found you and they're hooked in and they're ready to work with you. That's what we build inside a podcast like a business owner. This is the podcast launch course for business owners, for entrepreneurs who want to start a podcast that actually supports their business growth, a podcast that converts their podcast listeners into email subscribers, that converts their podcast listeners into paying clients. That is what I help you build inside a podcast like a business owner. The other thing is that a lot of these podcasts out there, they're not positioned for businesses or educating on a specific topic. While yes, there are quite a bit of business podcasts. If you look at, a lot of the podcast genres out there, a lot of them are comedy. They're rooted in talking about celebrity gossip and different things like that. They're not necessarily all connected to business or educating on a specific topic. There's a lot of true crime podcasts and different things like that. And so there is still room for you. But even if there is another expert in your industry who has a podcast, you can still start yours because they don't have the same perspective as you. They don't have the same frameworks and processes as you. They aren't able to reach the people that you're able to reach. For instance, there are a lot of web designers out there, but I'm not looking to work with any old web designer. I know who I specifically want to work with. I hired that person to build my website in the way that I knew she would be able to execute it. She was going to be able to bring my vision to life. Even when it comes to coaches, there are so many business coaches out there, but I knew for me, working with Kay Hillman was who I needed to work with because there were so many things where I related to her, I connected with her, I was able to truly receive from her. And she helped me in so many ways with growing my business and setting it up in a way to truly support my life. So this is what I'm saying. Like, you have to change your mindset when it comes to starting a podcast for your business. If you are going to start this business or run this business and you're going to be doing something that other people are doing too, you can't think like that. You can't think like, oh, well, somebody is already, offering this service. I can't offer it. No, you still can offer that service because how you execute, how you help your clients implement is not going to be the same way as someone else in your industry. Even if you think about your own habits of like investing in people to work with, you don't just invest in anybody. You really look for people who truly get your vision, who you know is actually going to be able to help you. There's things that come in like your personality and different things like that. The same thing applies to your podcast. There are a lot of podcasts out there on different business topics, but I'm not listening to all of them because I can't receive from all of them. There are certain people who I truly love hearing from and learning from because I feel that connection to them. And the same thing goes when it comes to you starting a podcast for your business. You have a message you're trying to get to the people who need it. So that needs to be your focus. Like, you're not trying to reach everyone. This is just another avenue for marketing your expertise. And so this is part of making that shift from looking at podcasting as being this way to grow a huge audience and different things like that. When you're podcasting for your business, you're not trying to be an influencer. You're not trying to get brand deals. Now, can those things come? Yes, they can. I've worked with clients who they started their podcast to support their business growth and ended up having businesses reach out to them for brand deals and sponsorships and different things like that. It can open up so many other opportunities for you. But when you're just getting started, your number one focus is leveraging this platform as a marketing platform. You're using it as a way to connect with more people who need to hear about you, what you do, and who need your help. So shift your mindset around it. Shift how you look at podcasting. You're not podcasting like the celebrities out there. You're not podcasting like the influencers out there. You're a business owner with a podcast. That's why you will never hear me call you guys podcasters on here because you're not a podcaster. You're a business owner with a podcast. You're a business owner who wants to start a podcast. There is a difference there. Okay. I really just wanted to go in on that because I'm tired of this conversation happening, especially for business owners who want to start a podcast, because you're in a different lane. You're not playing the same game as the hobbyists and influencers out there. You're doing something completely different. You have a service, a product, an expertise that you are selling. And this is just another way to connect with those people who need what you have to offer. So there is no need to wait. If you have been thinking about starting a podcast, do it now. Because if you were when you first started your business, you didn't wait years to start your Instagram page or start your email list and different things like that. You knew that you needed a way to connect with people who needed what you had to offer. And so you got those things up and running. The same thing applies to your podcast. It is just another marketing channel, point blank, period. Point blank, period. It is just another way to market your business and sell your offers. It is that simple. Okay? So if you're ready to start your podcast for your business, and I'm talking to you, if you have been sitting on this idea for years, if you have been telling yourself, okay, I'm going to start the podcast, and you keep putting it off and you keep putting it off and you keep putting it off, I'm talking to you. You need to come join Podcast Like a Business Owner. My course is now live. How it came together, I absolutely love it. So many great resources, not just to help you with the tech part, but to really give you the strategy behind podcasting for your business, give you the strategy for connecting with the right listeners, how to attract people to your podcast who need to hear it, how to build a relationship with them through your podcast content, and how to convert them into your offers. You will have everything you need to truly leverage podcasting as a marketing and sales platform. So if you are ready to start this podcast, I have it linked below for you to go ahead, check out the sales page, get all the details and everything like that. But the course is now live, and I just don't want you to sit on this any longer. I'm gonna be real, podcasting has been one of the best marketing and sales platforms for me. It's one of the easiest ways for me to create content, but also just the connections I have made, people who have found me who they may have never found me, especially because I'm not super active on Instagram. I am pretty active on Threads, but I even go through my periods where I ghost Threads. And so I have been able to connect with the most amazing clients through this podcast. This is the one platform I will never give up because it has just been such a pivotal part of my business growth. And especially as a mom, soon to be a mom of 3, I know I can always fall back on my podcast. Even this month with me dropping down to 2 episodes per month, I've been having a lot of people discover my podcast and binging the podcast. And it's just such an incredible thing, to see, dang, even though I'm not showing up how I typically do, people are still finding my content. They're still binging my podcast. They're still joining my email list. And it's just such an incredible thing. And so if that's you, you've been thinking about doing this thing for a while, go ahead, grab Podcast Like a Business Owner so that way you can launch your podcast. And this doesn't have to be something that just continues to be on your vision board, continues to be something you say you're going to do in 3 months, 6 months, and so on and so forth. All right. It's linked below in the episode description for you to check out the sales page and join Podcast Like a Business Owner. And yeah, I'll catch you in the next episode.